Good morning and welcome to Morning Java, brought to you as always by our great friends at the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where they are offering curbside delivery. You just open up the Giant Eagle app, and it is the Giant Eagle app, and they bring it right out to you. Just roll down the window, smile, wave, have a mask on, show some courtesy, and then take your food and then be off on your way. I'm joined from Hendersonville, Tennessee.
There we go.
Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
By Ramon. And Ramon is not wearing pads, but guess what? Neither is anyone in the NFL right now, and they won't be having full pads practice until August 17, according to the latest information out of the NFL. It's one thing to not have preseason games. It's one thing to have us not have OTAs, and it's like, Moan, this is a different world now. Nobody's putting pads on until 2.5 weeks before the opener.
It is, man. It's pretty wild for me. I'll say I get it a few ways. So one, guys hadn't really done anything. Even during OTAs, there's still a little bumping of the shoulders and pushing of bodies and stuff like that. For an old guy in camp, or older guys in camp, I'm sure they really won't mind it too much. But at the same time, man, that is a stretch from July 28th to August 17th, man. That is a long time, and hopefully they get into a system where I hate to say it, but like some physicality come out of it, to where they're not laying guys out, but they're going to have to condition themselves because that is a long time. But I'm guessing it's one of those necessary evils that has to be done considering guys haven't done anything. Anything football related. And I've seen some of the guys post their workouts. They're doing a bunch of body stuff, like being in cleats and running and turning corners while running and resistance bands and stuff, man. It's needed, but the anticipation is going to be crazy on the first day, But aside from that, that is a long layover from what we're used to in camp, at least.
And when you're talking about timing, in football, you're not just talking about cadence. You're talking about a rhythm of understanding who picks up what, who adjusts to what, and that even applies to practice. So I don't think a lot of people realize that. They think that everything the defense is doing in practice, right? And vice versa.
No. We think they know what we're doing.
No, right, exactly. But all of that has to be somehow simulated. Now that without pads, I understand you can go out there in shorts and do a lot of this stuff, but you can't. You know what I mean?
And I'll just say this too. One of the biggest things that's a determining factor of we're in pads is Vince Williams and whoever else. Vince Williams and Devin Bush, or when it was a Shazier, the one of the first periods that come up is backs on backers or puck. Pass under protection or pass under pressure. We say pass under protection. They say pass under pressure.
Good.
Okay,
that's really good.
But it's the pup period.
Here, I thought pup was just physically unable to perform. So what did I know?
No, pup is pass under protection or pass under pressure. Okay. Blitzburg versus those. Okay, we get. But I'll say this: from OTAs of picking up pup to the first day in camp, first day in pads, picking up pup. Totally different. Vince blitzing up the middle, which Vince is very good in between the line of scrimmage, man. I can't emphasize that enough. Very good blitzing, okay? And you have a young guy experienced last year with Devin Bush. Very good. And not only that, but fast, okay? They can blitz all they want to without pads on. Bam, okay, he get through, or not he get through, but he comes to a point and he stops. It's bad intentions when it's pup and pads, man, especially the first day in camp. That's going to be something to where if guys aren't ready after this long of a layoff, it's going to be some butts on the grounds, either from the defensive perspective or offensive perspective, because that first day of pup, man, versus those linebackers who love and die for that type of period, okay, it's something that can't be simulated in what is this, the 19, 22 days before pads?
Yeah.
It can't be simulated.
No, it's crazy. It's a different world. We've heard Mike Tomlin say, and boy, this was a few weeks ago now, that look, guys, he was talking to us, he calls us guys. Look, guys, we've already lost out on 900 snaps this year. And he was referring to everything, minicamp, OTAs, the whole deal. This is that much more. I mean, there were supposed to be five preseason games. Then it was 4, and then it was 2, and now it's this. And I just keep thinking about how awful the football is going to be on week 1. And I don't mean the Steelers. I'm talking about all 32 franchises. I don't see, And
like I said, you want to be in a situation where you have a lot of players coming back. And not only that, but a lot of quality players that's coming back. I think the defense is, and the offense is in a really good phase of the Steelers era right now. You got some young with experience. You got some old with a lot of experience. You have Cam Hayward. TJ is a young guy with a lot of experience. Look at Bud, young guy with a lot of experience. Then you look at the offense side. You still have Ben. You still have an O-line that's intact. James is a young guy that's a young guy with a lot of experience. Juju, same thing. Deontay, they're going to bring him along. And then you just hope the rookies find a way to be able to splash in here and there, because he's right. There's snaps is the only way you can really simulate what's going to happen. I know that, hey, man, this guy might miss it here or there, but in the game, if we get him more snaps, but if during the week we get him more snaps in practice, game changer. That's just how it goes, and they're 100% right on that, and I hate it for him, but the other side of me is like, well, man, the guys get an opportunity to really just rest this off season with high anticipation, because I know guys want to play and want to do their jobs too.
So the other thing that this makes me think about is that these guys, kids aren't getting on the field. People talk about Anthony McFarland. He's the one name that comes up. He's, of course, the 4th-round running back out of Maryland who's got the breakaway ridiculous speed, especially once he finds some space. Tormented Ohio State. While
Cam's not going to like that.
Oh, no. I'm sure it'll never come up either, right? He's not getting on the field unless he shows he can block for Ben Roethlisberger, is he? I mean, there's just no, you're never going to do that in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely not. And there's a lot of things that go into that. So you can have all the talent in the world, but if you cannot, I'm telling you, day one, Vinny versus Anthony McFarland, it's going to be #1 showcase, okay? I promise you that. I don't think there's a young linebacker that's meant to do that other than Vinny, okay? And because Vinny's the OG, he's going to do it one time, embarrass him, and Mike T's going to put it up on the big board and say, hey, this is why you won't see the field. That's just how it goes. He's good at that, man, but that's just how it's going to go. And so it's going to be all the young linebackers against McFarland. And from there, he's going to be led by young James, who has a lot of reps, but also you got another 2 guys in that room that still got to prove themselves too. And that's Jalen, and that's also Benny Snell. If you can see, I saw he looks really good coming into camp. And me knowing Benny with picking up protections, he's ready for it, but he's still got to go through the rigors of making sure that he knows that his position is as secure as he can block a linebacker.
Well, hang on. Now, you just threw out 2 names there and said that they both have something to prove. Jalen Samuels, let's start with him.
Yeah.
It felt to me from afar, from the press box, wherever you guys were, that as soon as 38 came onto the field, you know what I'm going to say here, everyone knew it was the big red neon sign, pass coming. Okay. Now, at the same time, to paint Jalen Samuels as one-dimensional is to completely ignore what he did to New England 2 years ago, most of which was on the ground. You guys. Now, granted, I'm not saying this just because I'm talking to you, but everyone saw it. You manhandled the Patriots' defensive front. I mean, everybody saw that. It was just the holes were obscene. But he hit them, and he made them count. What does he need to do to get to the next level? Not the next level of the defense, the next level of his game.
It's Jalen. He's a huge talent. He came in as one of those quiet guys that nobody really kind of understood. Mm-hmm. And then you saw him get on the field. It's like, man, this dude One, he has a little bit of a-hole in him, okay? He's a savage out there, man. He has this stoic look on his face, but this dude is very intense. Getting to the next level for him is going to be proving that he can run in between the tackles, hit the edge, which is what he loved to do. He actually has more speed than people give him credit for. I'm actually excited about him. I love what Connor can do and bring to the team, but having Jalen as a nice compliment, and also, like you said, the other one too is Benny.
Well, Benny's different though. Benny was running past you.
Yeah,
I mean, Benny was almost all between the tackles, but that's what he enjoys.
Yeah, yes, it is. And going back to Jalen is this: he's a guy that loves space. Getting on the field on first down is going to be huge for him. Being able to, like you said, hit a counter, beat somebody to the edge, or if we got to run double up the middle, he's okay with that too. Jalen, being a guy that doesn't run in between the tackles like that is also a plus for him. You catching out of the backfield, being able to beat guys to the edge is something that's going to be very valuable for him, whether it's with the Steelers or somebody else in the future, because being a dynamic guy and not just a one-trick pony, as Coach Tomlin like to call it, is a huge asset for your pockets moving forward.
Well, what about
that position?
What about Benny? I mean, can he add more dimensions to his game? I mean, we saw highly encouraging signs, especially I want to say it was against Cleveland late in the year where he just went up the gut. He went right past you and Dave and Marquise, and there he went.
Yeah, Benny's going to be a guy, man, that's going to need touches. His opportunity to show who he is as a player is based on him getting the ball and striking out one or two times. Say, hey, we got to keep him on the field. That arsenal of guys that's in there. Just name the first three that was on the team last year: James, Benny, and Jalen. And then you throw in the new young speedster. That's a dangerous room, but Benny's going to have to find his way to show that he can catch out the backfield, whether he be a screen guy, they think he's coming in for protections, but also that comes into the effect of I'm sure Connor doesn't want them taking away his reps either.
No, he does not. No, he does not.
It's a great problem, and it's a tragic one at the same time for guys as far as their careers, and I hope all of them stay healthy. Good luck, Coach Randy, on figuring out how you're going to create an offense for those guys.
I was going to say, and I'm going to throw in respectfully here that we didn't even mention Kareth White, who also had some – well, I know. I'm not knocking you here.
I know. No.
Because that happens in this conversation, because Kareth White, to me, looks like what they want Anthony McFarland to be. I'm not comparing necessarily – do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Because when Kareth found – space, that was what he did with it. And I just think, damn it, Ramon, if this was a regular training camp, but you know what I'm going to say here, because this is,
you can see how it shakes.
But if there was 5 preseason games, all we would be talking about would be running back battles. Because that's all preseason is. It's all running back battles, and this would have been one of the most fun ones we've had. And we're not going to have that this year. We're just not.
Nothing. And mind you, this too. All of the only things you can hope for is if maybe you could sneak one on practice squad, but you can't. Okay,
no.
You can't at all, and because of that, we are stuck, like you said, wondering. And there's 20 plus days before they actually hit the path to where you can go see them and say, hey, this is how this is shaking. You don't even know.
Nope. Not until we're in there. One of the fun things that I've been thinking about in trying to picture no crowd noise, or at least no crowd noise in stadiums that aren't Atlanta or in Indianapolis. That's my cheap shot on that count. Whoa, he did.
We need a bell or something.
Jeez. Is that you would do this thing when it got really loud in road stadiums that I don't think a lot of fans understood, but you were really conspicuous in doing it, where you would kind of rise up and contort backward and face Ben and let him know what was going on.
Yeah.
Please try to describe what that was for people and how it affected your blocking assignment.
The tap, okay, that everybody talks about. And I'll say this too. Everybody started doing it after I did it, okay? It became, what
Okay.
is he doing? Till, oh, it makes sense why they're doing it. So being in away stadiums, communication is huge because communication leads to the process of executing plays. If we're on the same snap count, everybody's good. Me looking back at Ben and tapping Marquise is one of the, not everybody can do it, and it takes practice at getting it right too, and switching it up also. And then even also on the road, you do get to a point where you're like, screw it. If they know we're going, we're going. But it transpired because Cincinnati, it was in division opponent, Cincinnati. They used to do double barrel big time, like all the time. They would stack 2 linebackers in the A gap.
With guess who?
With Burfict.
Yeah.
Exactly. They would do that all the time. But what started happening was we started picking up the double barrel stuff so good that they used to just say, okay, well, we know they're sliding this way, sliding that way, according to what's the how they're lined up. So they started bringing guys in, and Marquise put his head down between his legs, and then they will move. So Marquise is one of the guys, he points out who we have and stuff like that. He's like the O-line general up front and say, hey, this, and that. So when they started moving around, we had to guess where we were going on certain things, or they would just change up the whole defense up front. And Marquise had to get up and I had to say, go right or something like that. So it's easier for me to look back and see out of my peripheral to track the linebackers. If Marquise's head is down and I'm looking back, he can be like, hey, Mo, they're moving right, or they've adjusted. It's so many different things that go on in between the play. But it was
what's related to, how's that related to Ben? That's the part that I didn't get.
It's for us. It's the snap count, honestly. Ben is the one that he sets the offense. Hey, you this. He's checking, doing everything he has to, and he'll look to me and be like, Mo, tap, and then we go.
Okay.
That's where it comes Ben. So it became Ben just lifting the knee really quick, looking at me. Me seeing him was easier than Marquise looking between his legs, trying to find his leg. And on top of that, Marquise, it would be times where we get one tap, Marquise come up, go back down. Get a set, and Ben would check a play or make an audible. And the whole time, Marquise can't bring his head up because why? If he moves up, we're snapping to us, okay? So Marquise will wait on me to tap quick up and down. That's the separator and communicating the line of scrimmage. And also, I found out later that it became easier for the tackles. Well, the slot wide receivers, and Gill actually was the one that told me, Marcus Gilbert. He was like, I don't have to see Marquise's head because you're so tall. When you go down, I can
see you poking out, yeah,
and go down. He's like, when I see you go down, I know I know our cadence then.
Wow. Now you do this, and we're running a photo of it here to accompany this. It looks, first of all, it looks like a twister position. Okay, like how you didn't hurt your spine doing this on a regular basis. But you also had to focus at the same time on a very large, angry human being directly opposite you, trying to do you harm.
Yes.
It seemed like a counterintuitive practice.
Like I said, not everybody can do it, and guys will tell you that too. Dave would just be like, I don't want to do that. He would say, like, let's say if I was missing a game or something like that.
Not me.
And that was one of the things. He was like, hey, BJ, that's on you this week. Like, that was one of the things, because it's like to be able to look back, and then you like you said, you put yourself in a disadvantage a little bit, because I got to tap, get set, and then still be able to set and pass protect, or either have a run block. I just did it. It's one of those things where it's like I didn't really question it. I found a rhythm in practice.
I was gonna say it just becomes instinct. Well, like a lot of this stuff.
It is, but a lot of people can do it, and it's funny too. Is when BJ would get in and he would have to do it like on the road games. Like Gil would get pissed a little bit. It was like, I can't see him.
Can't see him because he's not as tall. Yeah,
I can't see him. Or it's been times, and you can go. I think Buffalo game was one of those games where it's happened, or Green Bay. I forget where it was, but BJ went to go tap. Okay, and he moved his hand, but his arms were shorter than mine, and Marquise didn't feel it. So
Oh,
it
no.
was times where he thought he hit Marquise, and he went and kicked it, and everybody's looking back. He was like,
What? I didn't do it. Yeah.
So it's
No. Now, if BJ had been
funny.
wearing those cowboy boots, he'd have been a lot taller with those
I
big old
promise
heels.
you, man. Or he'd have had a pistol in his pocket and tapped Marquise. He'd have felt it dead. But
Wow.
seriously, that's one of the craziest things ever is dealing with that. And I honestly liked it a little bit because it was like, okay, I get a chance to rest my legs instead of being in the stance the entire time. And when it's go time, like I go, you know.
But you saw other teams doing this? You saw other teams? I can't say that's
Yes.
something I've noticed. Just in
Yeah.
the division or?
All the way around the league now. It didn't used to be like that at all. Everybody used to do the some centers would go up and come down, and some guys just don't want to do it, or they shake their heads real quick. A lot of guys now are, I say about 4 or 5 guys now are standing up, tapping, and getting in their stance.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a different thing. When we build the Ramon statue, that's what you're going to be doing in
I'm
the
looking
statue.
back.
Yeah, right?
Yes. Yes, indeed.